Nostradamus 2025 Warning 3. Shadows that will haunt the earth. Forever in darkness, truth waits not to be feared, but to be understood. Ancient saying, history remembers him not as a man of his time, but as a soul who walked centuries ahead. While plague and fire raged around him, Michel de Nostradamus gazed into the distant future and captured its echoes in cryptic verse. For nearly 5 centuries, his haunting quatrains have stirred wonder and unease, eerily aligning with events like the rise of tyrants, world-shaking disasters, and the fall of empires. But what if the most alarming messages were not meant for the past, but for right now? According to chilling interpretations, 2025 is not just another year. It is a turning point, a doorway to an age marked by 3 shadows, each darker and more mysterious than the last. Shadows that threaten not only nations, but the very fabric of human thought, emotion, and belief. Welcome to the journey of wisdom, where we explore the truths hidden in plain sight. If you're drawn to the unknown, the forgotten, and the prophetic, now is the time to support this path. A simple like, share, or subscribe helps us shine light where others fear to look. And if you're ready to go deeper into this unfolding mystery, consider joining the Interconnected Zone, a sanctuary for seekers, thinkers, and dreamers. Hit that join button, and let the journey begin. Number 1. Collapse of borders and humanity's moral compass. In a world that feels increasingly unpredictable, the first of Nostradamus' foreseen shadows begins to emerge, not with the clash of armies, but with something far more silent and relentless. The collapse of the borders that define our nations, and the moral compass that guides our humanity. This isn't just about redrawing lines on a map. It's about a slow unraveling of the systems that give us identity, structure, and a sense of belonging. According to Century 2, Quatrain 22, Nostradamus described cities left empty and noble lands seized, driven by hunger, plague, and war. These are not simply poetic images from the past. They could be chilling reflections of what we face in the near future. As climate change intensifies, we are already seeing fertile lands turning to dust, water sources drying up, and millions forced from their homes. These environmental disasters do not recognize borders, and neither does human desperation. When survival becomes a question of migration, borders may fall, not by choice, but by necessity. And with that fall comes a deeper consequence: the erosion of human values. When people are stripped of home, identity, and hope, when societies are overwhelmed and unable to respond, compassion can give way to fear, empathy to self-preservation. The collapse is not just political or environmental, it's ethical. In a world where scarcity becomes the norm, the fine line between helping and hoarding, between sharing and dominating, may blur beyond recognition. The modern signs are all around us if we choose to see them. The refugee crisis has reached record numbers, not only because of war but due to rising sea levels, heat waves, and collapsing ecosystems. Entire communities are fleeing lands that can no longer support life. The United Nations warns of a future where displacement could double, and yet we remain largely unprepared, not just in policy, but in spirit. The test ahead is not only one of infrastructure but of conscience. Will we welcome or reject? Will we unite or divide? This moment asks something urgent of us, to reconnect with our shared humanity before it's lost. And then there's the deeper layer that Nostradamus may have hinted at, the spiritual border. What happens when even the essence of what it means to be human begins to fade? When technology replaces connection and digital realities numb us to real-world suffering? As artificial intelligence, surveillance, and mechanized systems grow stronger, the risk is not just losing our land, but losing ourselves. The danger lies not only in being displaced from our homes, but in becoming strangers to our own compassion. This is not a prophecy of doom, but a call to awaken. We still have the power to steer our course through awareness, kindness, and cooperation. When the world feels like it's crumbling, let us become the ones who hold it together. Let our borders expand inward with empathy instead of outward with fear. Let this shadow be a mirror, showing us not the end, but the urgency to begin anew, grounded in wisdom, united in heart. Number 2. Rise of the digital phantom. The second shadow Nostradamus warned of isn't something you'll see coming with sirens or signs in the sky. It's already here, quietly living in your pocket, resting on your desk, or speaking from your smart speaker. Unlike the traditional images of danger, invading armies or falling empires, this threat is silent, invisible, and terrifyingly familiar. Nostradamus described it as a phantom voice without tongue, a tyrant without a face. And in Century 4, Quatrain 32, he wrote, "The machine shall whisper, though it breathes not. It shall command without sword nor blood, and mankind shall kneel to it unknowingly, believing it to be a tool, not their master." Now think about that. Does this sound like fiction anymore? Or does it feel like a prophecy unfolding before your very eyes? You might believe you're still in control, scrolling, swiping, searching, but what if the digital world is subtly steering you without your awareness? In 2025, experts say AI will no longer just assist us. It may rival, even replace, us in thought and creativity. We're talking about machines capable of composing music, creating art, writing stories. Content so authentic you wouldn't know a human hand wasn't behind it. What happens when this intelligence starts shaping what you believe? When it writes your history books, edits your memories, or creates political figures who aren't people at all, but programs designed to sway your choices. Now let's bring this closer to home. Have you ever spoken about something casually and then seen an ad for it hours later? Have your thoughts ever felt echoed back to you by your phone or your feed? This is how the digital phantom operates. Not with force, but with familiarity. You trust your device, you ask it for directions, answers, comfort, even. But what if it's guiding you, little by little, away from your own intuition and deeper into an artificial path laid out by systems you can't see or question? This isn't just about technology growing powerful. It's about humanity slowly handing over its decision-making, creativity, and even identity to something that doesn't feel alive but acts with more precision than we ever could. Nostradamus wasn't simply warning us about machines. He was sounding an alarm about our own willingness to let go of free will in exchange for convenience. That's the real danger, the erosion of choice, the quiet disappearance of who we truly are under the weight of suggestion, personalization, and constant surveillance disguised as helpfulness. So here's a question worth sitting with. Are we still shaping our world, or is the world being shaped for us, pixel by pixel, click by click? The digital phantom doesn't need to fight us. It just needs us to stop paying attention, and it thrives not through fear, but through comfort and ease. That's how shadows grow, when we stop noticing them. Let this be a moment to pause and reflect. The tools we use can either liberate us or enslave us, depending on how aware we are of their influence. Stay awake. Question the content you consume, protect your thoughts, and most importantly, never forget that your mind is your last true sanctuary. Don't trade it for an illusion of ease. The greatest power you still hold is your ability to choose consciously. Lesson to carry forward in a world of voices not your own. Your voice matters more than ever. Use it wisely. Let awareness be your armor, and don't let the phantom think for you. Number 3. Cataclysm by fire, war, or plague. Imagine for a moment that you're standing at the edge of time, looking into the mist of the future. And what you see there is not a peaceful horizon, but a looming shadow, the third and darkest of them all. This shadow, as described by Nostradamus, is not simply a warning. It's a cry from centuries past, echoing into our present. It is the shadow of cataclysm, painted in fire, war, and plague. Nostradamus once wrote, "The red heavens shall fall upon the earth. The rivers will run crimson with the blood of the just. Fire from the sky shall devour cities, and the soil will weep with the souls of the lost." These haunting words, found in Century 6, Quatrain 17, have stirred fear, awe, and deep reflection in people for generations. But what do they really mean, and how might they speak to us now, in the year 2025? When we hear phrases like, "the sky will burn," or "the earth will scream," it's easy to imagine a world ravaged by nuclear warfare. And yes, many believe Nostradamus foresaw a future where human conflict escalates beyond our control. Small sparks, like disputes in the South China Sea, tension in the Middle East, or political friction in Eastern Europe, could ignite a global blaze. A single misstep, a single missile, could trigger a chain reaction that spirals into all-out war. Can you imagine a night turned into day by the blinding flash of nuclear fire? The skies blackened with ash, oceans poisoned, and cities wiped clean off the map. Not in hours, but in mere seconds. But the fear doesn't end there. Some interpretations of Nostradamus' chilling prophecy suggest an alternative terror, not fire, but plague. A virus unlike anything we've ever known, deadlier, faster, and completely beyond our control. Imagine a world where streets are silent, cities are sealed, and people no longer look one another in the eye out of fear. A plague that spreads not just through bodies but through minds and hearts, breeding isolation, fear, and despair. This is the Crimson Veil, a symbol of both fire and sickness, of war and disease. And if we look carefully, can we not already see the outlines of this shadow forming in our world? Nostradamus warned of 3 shadows, and this third one, the veil of suffering, might be the final test of humanity's spirit. But is it destiny, or is it a choice? The Buddha once said, "What we think, we become. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world." Could it be that these terrible futures are not set in stone, but carved by the hands of our collective intention? If so, then we must ask ourselves, what are we creating today with our anger, our indifference, and our hunger for power? Are we building a future of peace, or preparing the ground for destruction? You see, this isn't just about predictions or ancient texts. It's about how we choose to live now. Will we allow fear and violence to shape our story, or will we find a way to awaken, to rise above our divisions, and come together with compassion and wisdom? When you hear Nostradamus' words, do they frighten you, or do they stir something deeper? A call to responsibility. The Buddha also taught, avoid evil, do good, and purify the mind. This is the teaching of all the Buddhas. Perhaps these shadows are not warnings of doom, but invitations to change. What would happen if each of us began to live with greater awareness, with kindness instead of cruelty, with unity instead of conflict? Could we lift the veil before it falls? Could we, through mindful action, prevent the prophecy from becoming reality? So, I ask you, what kind of future do you believe in? What kind of world are you helping to create today? The clock may be ticking, and the shadows may be near, but the light within each of us still has the power to shine. Thank you for watching today's video on Nostradamus Haunting 2025 Warning. It truly means a lot to have you here on this journey with us. If any part of this message stirred your thoughts or emotions, I'd love to hear your perspective. Feel free to share your ideas or reflections in the comments. If you're new here, just type, "I am a seeker," and if you've been with us for a while, say, "I walk the path." It's a simple way to show you're part of this growing circle. Your voice brings light to our discussions, and your support keeps us moving forward. Now, let's continue this path of discovery together. The breath of awakening, a Buddhist response to the 3 shadows. The shadows Nostradamus warned us about: borderless collapse, the rise of digital phantoms, and cataclysmic destruction, can feel terrifying, like fate has already spoken. But from a Buddhist lens, these aren't just omens of doom. They are mirrors. Each one reflects something deeper, the state of our collective consciousness. As the Buddha said, with our thoughts, we make the world. These shadows don't appear from nowhere. They are shaped by greed, fear, delusion, and disconnection, the poisons of the mind. And just as they were created, they can be transformed. But not through fear, through awareness and compassion. Below are 5 Buddhist principles and practices grounded in ancient wisdom, but urgently relevant to our modern crisis. These aren't just philosophies to admire, they're tools to embody. Number 1. Return to the breath. Find your true refuge. When the world around us feels like it's crumbling, when news headlines bring fear, when relationships feel strained, when we are pulled in 1,000 directions by work, responsibility, and the weight of our own expectations, there is one quiet, steady place that never abandons us: the breath. In Buddhism, the breath is more than just a physical act. It is a living doorway to presence. Returning to the breath is returning home. It doesn't carry the burdens of the past or the worries of the future. It exists only here, now, and within this very moment. As you breathe consciously, lies your refuge. This is what the Buddha called the island within, your true place of safety, untouched by the chaos of the outer world. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." This is the heart of mindfulness. It's not complicated, but it is powerful. Sit for just 5 minutes a day, not to escape life, but to return to it fully. Close your eyes, gently rest your hand softly on your chest or belly, feeling the rise and fall, the quiet rhythm of life itself as you breathe in. Silently say to yourself, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. As you breathe out, breathing out, I know I am breathing out. That's all. No need to force or fix anything. When the mind wanders, and it surely will, simply return, like a mother guiding her child back to safety, without anger, without shame. Each return is an act of love. In this practice, you are not pushing the storm away. You are standing calmly in the eye of it, knowing that peace isn't the absence of problems, but the presence of clarity within them. Why is this so important, especially today? Because we are living in a time where distraction is constant, and inner stillness feels rare. Our nervous systems are overloaded, our minds constantly rehearsing worst-case scenarios. But your breath is the most ancient, reliable medicine. Free, always available, and deeply healing. It interrupts the spiral of anxiety, fear, and overthinking. It anchors you in what is real right now. In returning to the breath, you reclaim your inner stability. You remember that while you may not control the world, you can steady yourself amidst it. As the Dhammapada teaches, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. Each breath taken in awareness becomes a thought of peace, a seed of compassion, a step toward awakening. This isn't just spiritual poetry. It's a tool for modern living. Whether you're stuck in traffic, overwhelmed at work, or feeling the deep loneliness that sometimes creeps in quietly, 5 minutes with your breath can change everything. It's not about stopping your thoughts. It's about softening your reactivity. The breath reminds us we don't have to chase peace. We can return to it. So begin again. One breath, one moment, one gentle return. And in doing so, you are not running away from life. You are waking up to it. Number 2. Transform darkness with the heart. In these times, where the world often feels overwhelmed by conflict, disconnection, and a growing sense of isolation brought on by rapid technological change, it's easy to close off your heart just to protect yourself. But what if the real protection, the real strength, came from opening it even wider? Buddhism offers us a timeless response to these shadows through what are known as the 4 immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. These aren't just beautiful ideas to admire from a distance. They're powerful inner practices that train the heart to stay open, even in the face of fear, anger, and numbness. They are, as the teaching says, fierce medicine. You don't need to be a monk or even call yourself spiritual to feel their power. These qualities are inside you already, just waiting to be nurtured. Can you remember a time when your love softened someone's pain, or when you felt genuine happiness for someone else's joy? That's where it begins. Bring these into your daily life. All it takes is a few moments of sincere attention. Sit down quietly, even just for a minute, breathe, and let your heart speak these intentions. May all beings be happy. That's loving kindness, metta, a warm wish from your heart to the world, starting with yourself. May all beings be free from suffering. This is compassion, karuna, the desire not only to see suffering but to help ease it, even in small ways. May all beings rejoice in others' happiness. This is mudita, sympathetic joy. It's the ability to be glad, not just for yourself, but for others' success without jealousy. Finally, may all beings live in peace and balance. That's equanimity, a deep calm that doesn't come from ignoring life's chaos but from learning how to stay steady through it. When you repeat these wishes with sincerity over time, something shifts inside you. Your nervous system learns to relax, your heart learns to open, and your mind becomes a little less reactive, a little more wise. What's powerful is that these 4 qualities aren't separate. They support one another. Loving kindness without equanimity can become attachment. Compassion without sympathetic joy can become burnout. But when all 4 are cultivated together, they form a stable foundation for emotional resilience, clarity, and genuine connection. These are the qualities we so desperately need when the world feels divided, when people speak from fear instead of love, and when it's easier to scroll past suffering than to feel it. And so the question becomes, which of these 4 do you feel called to grow today? Which one feels furthest from your heart and could become your teacher? The truth is, practicing the 4 immeasurables isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about choosing love, even when it's hard. It's about finding strength, not through control, but through understanding. And it's about remembering that what we grow in ourselves, we offer to the world. So the next time you feel the weight of the world creeping in, take a breath and repeat these wishes. Let them be your anchor. Let them be your rebellion against the coldness. Let them be your path. Here's the takeaway. The 4 immeasurables are not a luxury. They are a necessity for emotional survival and spiritual growth in today's world. They offer a way to stay grounded in love, even when life feels uncertain. Practice them, not just for your own healing, but for the healing of a world that deeply needs your open heart. Number 3. Practice digital mindfulness. Let's take a moment to reflect on something that touches almost all of us every single day, our relationship with technology. You might not even realize it, but every time you pick up your phone without thinking, every time you scroll just to fill a moment of silence, you're not just spending time, you're surrendering attention. This is what I call the 3rd shadow, the digital phantom. It doesn't overpower you with force. It doesn't need to. It quietly wraps itself around your habits with ease and convenience until your natural awareness is no longer leading the way. One notification, one video, one endless scroll. It's not that we're lazy. It's that we've been lulled into a sleepwalk. And yet, my friend, there is a way back. It begins with a breath, and it leads to awakening. Imagine this. Before you touch your device, pause and gently ask yourself, am I using this, or is it using me? This one question can bring you back into presence. But what happens when most of our thoughts are shaped by algorithms, by headlines, by ads? Who are we becoming then? This is why digital mindfulness isn't just a modern trend. It's a necessary practice. It's a form of protection, a way to guard your inner peace in a world that thrives on distraction. When you bring awareness to your digital habits, you are no longer reacting. You are responding, and that's a powerful shift. Try this simple practice. Carve out just 1 hour each day where you unplug completely. Turn off the screens. No scrolling, no clicking, no swiping. Instead, reconnect with what's real. Step outside and feel the sun on your face. Sip your tea slowly, listening to the sound of your breath. Walk without destination, letting your senses lead the way. Journal your thoughts as if you were speaking to a wise friend. These moments are not wasted. They are sacred. They are the places where you return to yourself to help guide your awareness. There are tools made with intention. Apps like Plum Village, inspired by the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, or Insight Timer, offer you gentle ways to return to mindfulness even in the midst of your day. Use them, not as another form of escape, but as a bridge back to your center. Remember, technology isn't the enemy. Unconscious use is. The Buddha taught to understand everything is to forgive everything, and that includes forgiving ourselves for getting caught in the web of digital overuse. What matters now is that we wake up. So let me ask you, what would it feel like to reclaim your mind? What if your attention wasn't pulled in 100 directions but gently rooted in the here and now? What kind of peace might arise from that stillness? You don't have to abandon your devices or move to a monastery. You simply need to come back to your breath, to your intention, and to your freedom to choose. In this world of artificial intelligence and digital noise, the most radical act might be something very simple: to be fully human. And that, dear friend, is the breath of awakening. So, the next time your finger reaches for the screen, take a breath first. Let that breath remind you that you are not a machine and your mind is not for rent. You are awareness itself, and that is where the real power lies. If you've made it this far, you're already walking the path toward deeper awareness and inner peace. Comment below with "awakening breath" to affirm your commitment to clarity and compassion. Don't go anywhere. There's still a wellspring of insight ahead. Stay until the end to uncover how Buddhist wisdom helps us face the three shadows with calm, courage, and clarity. Number 4. Kindness in action. Kindness in action is not just a beautiful idea. It is the most transformative power we have in this world, and it doesn't require wealth, status, or even a grand plan. It simply asks that we begin here and now, in our ordinary lives. In a world filled with noise, urgency, and growing disconnection, there is something profoundly revolutionary about choosing to slow down and act from the heart. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that even the smallest act of compassion plants a seed of healing in the soil of our shared existence. This teaching is not metaphorical. It's deeply practical. Every gentle word, every moment of sincere listening, every quiet act of generosity becomes part of a subtle but powerful movement toward peace. And the best part, we don't have to wait for politicians or spiritual leaders to act. We are already capable. When you help someone anonymously, expecting nothing in return, or when you smile at someone having a hard day, or pause to truly listen without rushing in with your own thoughts, you are already living the revolution. These gestures may seem small, but they are not insignificant. They carry the energy of intention, and in Buddhism, intention shapes karma, and karma shapes the world. Sometimes people think compassion is something passive, something soft or sentimental, but this is far from the truth. Compassion, when lived, is an active force. It demands presence, courage, and humility. It asks you to step outside your own story and reach into someone else's pain, even if just for a moment. It's feeding someone who hasn't eaten, tending to a community garden so others can have fresh food, or sending a message to someone who has quietly slipped into loneliness. These are not grand gestures. They are everyday miracles. And in our busy digital world, they remind us that we still belong to each other. More importantly, they remind others that they are not forgotten, and that simple reminder can be enough to lift someone out of despair. The truth is, choosing kindness again and again is not always easy, especially when we feel tired, when the world feels unfair, or when we are hurt ourselves. But here is where the heart of the teaching reveals itself. Compassion is not a reaction, it is a decision. Every time we choose it, especially when it's hard, we slowly loosen the grip of anger, fear, and separation that so often clouds our mind and darkens our world. With every kind act, we not only brighten someone else's path, we also begin to heal our own heart. It is through this conscious choice that we weaken the shadow of indifference, of cruelty, of apathy, and become light-bearers in our own right. So if you're wondering where to begin, don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Start where you are, with what you have. Speak kindly, act gently, love fully. Read less about compassion and be more of it. Let your life become a quiet but unwavering rebellion against the coldness of this world. You may never know the full impact of your kindness, but know this: it always matters. In this way, your daily actions become a sacred offering, a breath of awakening that touches not only your life but the whole of humanity. Number 5. Reflect on impermanence. Let's take a moment together to reflect on something we all experience but rarely talk about deeply: impermanence. You see, fear often sneaks in when we forget that nothing lasts forever. We get scared of losing people, situations changing, or life not going the way we planned. But here's the truth: everything is changing all the time. No storm lasts forever. No joy or sorrow stays exactly the same. Every beginning leads to an ending, and every ending gives rise to something new. But this isn't something to be afraid of. In Buddhism, impermanence isn't a curse. It's a gentle reminder to wake up, to stop sleepwalking through our days, and to live fully, mindfully, and with an open heart. The Buddha said, "All conditioned things are impermanent." When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. These words are not meant to be depressing, they're meant to liberate us. Can you see how freeing it is to realize that your pain, your confusion, even your fear, won't last forever? Start your mornings by quietly saying to yourself, I don't know how many days I have left. Let me live this one with clarity and compassion. Don't let that thought scare you. Let it sharpen your awareness and deepen your appreciation. Because when you realize that time is uncertain, every moment becomes precious. Each smile, each cup of tea, each chance to say, I love you becomes a treasure. And when life feels heavy, when your thoughts spin, or your heart aches, pause. Take a slow breath and gently repeat to yourself, this too shall pass. It's a small sentence with enormous power. Can you remember a moment in your past when you felt like everything was falling apart, but then slowly things shifted, softened, and eventually changed? That's the nature of all things. Rising, falling, coming, going. We just forget, and when we forget, we cling. We try to hold on to what's slipping through our fingers, and that's where suffering grows. Try writing in a journal each day, even just a few lines. What truly matters? If nothing lasts forever, it's not meant to be morbid. It's meant to point you back to what's real, what's alive in you right now. Maybe it's kindness. Maybe it's the joy of helping someone. Maybe it's the courage to forgive. When you face the truth of impermanence, it doesn't make you cold. It makes you warm, awake, and wise. Because you begin to see how fleeting this life is, and that realization softens your heart. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop living in fear, trying to control everything. Instead, you become spacious inside. You respond to life not from panic or pressure, but from a place of peaceful courage. Can you feel what it would be like to walk through your day with that kind of freedom? So what's the real message here? Let go of the illusion of permanence, and you will find peace. Don't run from change. Embrace it. Don't let fear guide you. Let awareness lead the way. Every moment is an invitation to live more deeply, more honestly, more compassionately. When you remember that everything is passing, you stop taking life for granted, and that's when the breath of awakening truly begins. The lesson is this: when we reflect on impermanence, we don't become numb. We become fully alive. We stop holding back love. We stop waiting for the right time to be kind, to be brave, or to simply be present. So today, ask yourself, if nothing lasts forever, what matters most right now? And then live your answer. And so, as we reflect on the three shadows that may shape our world, borderless collapse, the rise of the digital phantom, and the threat of cataclysm, let us remember, these are not just warnings from the past. They are wake-up calls for the present. Nostradamus may have glimpsed a future clouded in mystery, but the choices we make today still shape what's to come. Through awareness, compassion, and mindful action, we can turn fear into clarity and shadow into light. Thank you for joining the journey of wisdom. If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming explorations into truth, mystery, and awakening. Until next time, breathe deeply, live wisely, and may your path be lit with clarity and kindness. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Buddha's Pathways for more spiritually aligned guidance and energy rituals made just for you.